freeze.
Hello and welcome to another edition of Truth and Rhythm, brought to you by funkinstuff.net. This is the interview show that gets deep in the pocket with contemporary music's foremost masters of the groove. I'm your host, Scott Dr. Jigs Goldfine, musicologist and author of Everything's on the One, the First Guide to Funk. If you don't have your copy, get on over to Amazon and pick one up. You'll be so glad you did. Whether you're watching the video version of this at funkinstuff.net or on YouTube, or listening to the audio-only podcast version from providers like iTunes and Spotify, as always, I thank you so much for your continued interest and support in the show. Speaking of which, if you haven't already done so, subscribe to the Funkin' Stuff channel on YouTube. That's where Truth and Rhythm lives. All kinds of goodies. You'll get early premieres, and it's all free, so make sure you sign up. Tell a friend, tell family. Also, get your official Truth and Rhythm and Funkin' Stuff gear at the funkinstuff.net store. Cool stuff like I'm wearing right here. Truth and Rhythm shirts. Show your support and love of the show and also the musicians and the music that they represent. Also want to give a shout out to the Funk Exhibition Center and Hall of Fame in Dayton, Ohio, of which I'm very proud to be an official funk ambassador. Go to thefunkcenter.org to learn more and keep the funk alive. And now, with all that, it's time to get on with the show. Enjoy. I'm pleased to welcome to the Truth and Rhythm Mothership an original member of the Kings of Go-Go Trouble Funk. It's bassist, composer, vocalist, and composer BigTony Fisher.
Yeah, great pleasure, man.
Hey, for the uninitiated, I got to give a little background before we jump into it with you. Go-Go music originated in Washington, D.C. during the 1970s as a blend of funk, R&B, and old-school hip-hop with a heavy emphasis on percussion. In addition to Trouble Funk's tracks like Drop the Bomb and Pump It Up, mainstream go-go hits included Chuck Brown and the Soul Searchers' Bustin Loose and EU's Debut. We're fortunate to have the man here today, BigTony, to tell us all about it.
Yes, sir. About it.
Thanks for joining the show.
Man, thanks for having me on here.
So you're coming to us, we're just talking about that from the D.C. area, right?
Yeah. As a matter of fact, I'm in Upper Marlboro right now. And, yeah, I'm originally from Southeast D.C., Washington, D.C., you know. Been raised up there most of my life, the other half in Maryland. But it's the DMV area, so it's all D.C. bound, you know.
Yeah, something cool for me is I actually got to D.C. for the first time in my life just a few years ago because I'm from Los Angeles. And now being on the East Coast, I've been exploring the East Coast. And so I went there for the first time, and man, I was impressed. It was better than I expected.
Okay, that's what's up, man. Yeah.
So, and how's your leg doing? I know you had a little bit of a setback.
But yeah. But well, I'm healing up. You know, it's a process, man. They said it's gonna take 4 to 6 months, but nah, I'll be back on my feet long before the end. You know, they don't know BigTony. You know, it's a Southeast thing, man.
Yeah, well, good. I'm glad to hear that. I was worried about you for a minute.
Yeah, I'm good.
Excellent. So, Tony, let's turn the time machine back a little bit and talk about, how did you first get into music and specifically into the bass?
Oh, wow. You want to go back there? All right, man. Well, I my first musical experience with an instrument was I was around 11 years old, man, and it's a fascinating story. I used to live in Northwest, up here, not far, just around, I think it was like 17th and T, not far from this place, Meridian Hill Park. Long story short, there was some high-rise apartments not far from Meridian Hill Park. And I was on my way up there, walked up there, go to the park and everything. And I seen, at the time, I just seen a whole bunch of furniture and stuff sitting out on the street, and I seen people picking through it, So back then, I didn't know that someone had got evicted. I just seen a lot of what I thought was free stuff. So, moving fast forward, I seen the guitar, I picked it up, and I headed back down to the house. And the guy that actually got evicted was on his way up the hill while I was on my way down there. And he was like, "Hey, where you going with my guitar? That's mine." So I told him, I said, "I found it on the street, And he was pissed, man. He was really pissed. So he told me, he was like, "Yeah, I can have you arrested for this and blah, blah, blah." He was like, I guess, just pissed off because the stuff is on the street, So I was like, I gave it back to him, and I was like hauling ass on back down to the house, and he called me. I said, "Oh, shit, And he said, "Come here." I went back over there, and he's like, "Here, next time I see you, you learn how to play this guitar, or I'm taking it back." Now me, being the kid and everything, I'm thinking that I'm gonna see this guy again. He gonna take this guitar, I don't know how to play it. So I go home and I listen to music, and I turn on the TV and try to imitate what I see on TV. The first song I learned how to play was Johnny Cash, "I Walk the Line." Dum 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 dum. Because I seen Johnny Cash on TV and I seen him play it. He was sitting on the stool, and I just imitated what I saw, and it was like real easy to me. I learned how to tune a guitar from this TV show called, I think it was called The Monkees. At the end of the program, they had this thing to go dum 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 to take out the show, and that's how I learned how to tune my guitar. Now I know all this may sound real crazy, but it's a true story, and that was my first experience. Okay, moving fast forward, again, my sister broke my guitar, and my mother promised to buy me another guitar for Christmas, and she did. She bought me a bass guitar, which I liked a lot better than the regular guitar, And she bought my brother a pair of drums at this little place on 8th and 8th Street. I forgot the name of the store, but later on they burned down and they became Chuck Levin's, which is like one of the biggest music stores on the East Coast, They became Chuck Levin's. And again, I've been playing bass ever since, and then at the age of 16, no, I'm sorry, at the age of 15, I was playing in clubs.
Wow. Who are some of
Yeah.
your early influences or heroes, bass-wise?
Oh man, well, Larry Graham is at the top of my list, man. Larry Graham is like my hero. Yes, like my bass hero, man. Sorry, my phone alarm went off. But Larry Graham is like, I was really into Larry Graham and Stanley Clarke. But you couldn't tell me I wasn't Larry Graham when I was younger, because everything I knew about Larry Graham, I mean, I sung all his stuff. Standing by the highway, waiting in the rain. You couldn't tell me I wasn't Larry Graham, man. But yeah, that's my hero. And then groups like Commodore, Ohio Players, and all those old funk groups back in the Parliament, of course, Barcades, those groups were a big influence, on me as far as my musical funk background,
So stylistically, did you attempt to do, the plucking kind of style like Graham, or?
Yes.
Uh-huh.
That was my thing, the plucking, and Stanley Clarke, of course, it was like the soloing and stuff like that, all that kind of stuff there. So I was I was into Jocko a little bit, but he was a little too deep for me at the time. So, but those from a funk point of view, those were my funk heroes. Like I said, Larry Graham, and it's crazy because I my sound man actually did went on tour with Larry Graham and what's the other guy named the other bass player, um, Marcus Miller.
Uh-huh.
You know what I'm saying? My sound man Brian West that did sound for Trouble Funk. You know, when we went on tour, and he was telling me that Graham knew all about Trouble Funk, and so did Marcus Miller. But I never got a chance to meet Graham. You know, and that's been one of my biggest. You know what I'm saying? I would love to meet Graham, man. It's like I got my and I'm gonna try to make that happen for my birthday.
Yeah, well, I hope you do. I mean, he's still out there doing it even at his age. So,
Yeah, man. Yeah, man. He's still doing it, man. He's still my hero, man. You know? Yeah. Much respect to this guy, man.
uh,
Still look good too.
yeah, he does.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I eventually I'm just skipping through a lot of stuff, but you know, after playing in the clubs and stuff, I played at this club called the Part Three with uh, Johnny Barnes. He's a solo artist that sing a lot of Al Green and Johnny Taylor and Bobby Womack. You know, here I am 15 years old in the club playing this kind of stuff. Now, the way I got the gig, I was living in the projects over here in Southeast. And uh, and I had a drummer this drummer that was going with one of the females that was uh, um, a couple of doors down from us, you know, which my friend Charles Cook, one of his sisters, he came through and said, "Man, you know, you're pretty good. You should come and, you know, come over to the club and audition." I was like, "Man, you know, I can't get no club. I'm 15 years old." He's like, "I'll work that out if you you know, get to audition. If you pass the audition, I can work it out. But it won't be a problem." So I went through there on Mondays. They would have the audition. They have like 3 or 4 bass players come through there. Audition. They tell you what songs that you got to learn. They give you a list of songs to learn, about 5 or 6 songs, and then you come back Wednesday and audition. Monday you get the songs. Wednesday you audition, and when every week I would beat them out. They used to call me Big Youngin, you know. And it's like, "Big Youngin, you got the gig," you know. So that happened so many times in so many weeks. They just went on and gave me the gig permanently, you know. They think, you know, ain't no need to audition to nobody else. The Big Youngin be beating them out. So they used to teach me, say, "Man, you made one bass player play Congo just so we can get some work," you know. So I did that for a while, and then there was this group, Trouble Band and Show, and I used to go see them at the Anacostia. They used to play outside a lot at Anacostia Park, and I thought it was a great group. They played top 40s. It was like a top 40 R&B cabaret band.
Is this like
And
mid or late 70s?
yeah, it was like around 76, something like that, 75, 76. Yeah, it was around 75, 76, you know. And I used to go see them a lot. And there was a guy named Gerald that I used to live in Burridge Farm, not far from where I live. And he used to come over, we was good friends. And I taught him how to play. And Gerald messed around and got the gig with Trouble. And I was like, how in the hell did he get this gig? You know what I'm saying? It's like, but anyway, they wind up firing Gerald, and the word was out. The guitar player knew me, Mike, Michael Anderson. The guitar player, Michael Anderson, for Trouble Band and Show. They, he told Rio, which was the founding manager of Trouble Band and Show. He told Rio about me, and he's like, "Man, this is the guy that taught Gerald how to play, blah, blah, blah." So one day, Rio came over and knocked on my door and asked me, did I want a gig? You know, I was like, sure, why not? So, man, I had something like 20-something tunes to learn in a week.
Were they playing originals or covers or
No,
mix or okay.
no. The Dyke and I, Robert Reed, we always played together. Me, Dyke, and Taylor, we always played in certain bands together outside of the gig that I had at Part 3. So we had little groups that we played. It wasn't serious. I mean, just, little basement bands and get together and we gig and, do maybe a little something outside here and there. But, it was just for the love of it. We'd pack the stuff up in the car and, some of the stuff, in somebody's backyard and get together and jam. But Dyke and I, we were always original. We always created original music. You know what I'm saying? So when I got with Trouble Band and Show, Dyke didn't come right over because I was always used to following him. So I was like, you know what? I'm gonna make a move on my own for a change. So Dyke wound up following me. He came over about maybe 3 weeks later after I got there. The Trouble Band and Show. So when Dyke came, and then Taylor came right after Dyke, that's when we started influencing some of the originality that we had on the band.
Mm-hmm.
We had started influencing some of the originality on the band. So we still play top 40s, but the way we came about to start doing like some serious original stuff is that we played at this place called the Club The Burn. I think this was somewhere like around 77. We was playing at this place called the Club The Burn. We did a cabaret there. And after the cabaret, there was another show. And when we broke down, everybody was leaving, and I seen this long line up the side of the building. So I went in there and I asked the guy that owned the joint at the time, which was Ted Hawkins. I said, man, what is that line for? The show is over. He said, no, we get ready to do a new show. We got the Go-Go, we got the Go-Go show coming up. Chuck Brown the Soul Searchers is playing. That was my first experience, with hearing Chuck Brown, period. I heard about him. And I asked him, I said, man, you mind if I stay and check it out? He said, cool, no problem. And I was about 17 years old, and at this time. So I stayed there, and it's like, I noticed Chuck Brown was playing a lot of top 40s, but in between the top 40s, he was playing this beat, this really cool, funky beat, And I was like, yeah, I like that. That's, it was something about that. I connected instantly with that beat, So moving fast forward, we used to rehearse at this place called the Coffee Shop on Minnesota Avenue. And the guy that owned the coffee shop, he'd come in there every now and then drunk and, basically like, yeah, I got to get the hell out of here with all that noise and blah, blah. So this went on for a minute. So one day Rio just got tired, cussed the guy out, packed all the stuff up. We had nowhere to go. So I made the suggestion. I said, man, why don't we go talk to the guy up there that owned the Club The Burn? And at the time, we knew that he was looking for an opening act for Chuck Brown. I said, why don't we talk to the guy and see if we can get some rehearsal days there on these off days in exchange for opening up the Chuck. So he's like, what the hell? Tried it. We went up there and he was like, yeah. So what happened was, he said, not only can you rehearse here on off days, we're going to pay you such amount of money to open up, the Chuck. So that was a win-win, man. So we thought. Up until we started getting our ass kicked every week, But so we would perform, and we was playing a lot of the same music Chuck was playing. But I found out later the difference between what we were doing versus what Chuck was doing is like we would stop and go into another song. People was looking at us like we was from some out of space somewhere, man. It's like they just stood there looking, and after a while they just like started walking around like we didn't even exist. This went on for about, I don't know, almost 2 months. And Chuck Brown would come on, and the drummer Rick would hit the damn bang, hit the cymbal, and everybody just rushed to the front of the stage, just from out of nowhere. It's like just packed in, and they get to hollering. Chuck ain't played one tune yet. He just scratching his shot, shot. And then even back then, right now to this day, they still hollering, "Wind me up, Chuck." Way back then, they was hollering, "Wind me up, Chuck." And Chuck would be, "Say what, y'all? Talk to me quick now." You know, this is Chuck back in the 70s. And all of a sudden, the drummer, "I want to thank you so much for coming out tonight." Blah, blah. You know how Chuck do. You know. And by this time, the band went home. I stayed there because it's like I'm trying to figure out what is it that they doing that we ain't doing. You know, I've always had a very competitive spirit nature about myself, and it's like I hate to be outdone. so I did this thing, man. I sit on the sideline and watch Chuck and try to figure out what was going on for a good little while. What was the connection between Chuck, the crowd, and the drummer? You know what I'm saying? It's like, it was that beat. I figured out that it was that beat in between the songs that kept them on the floor. You know what I'm saying? And the way that he made his transition from one song to that beat to another song, you know what I'm saying? It was like hypnotic, you know. And then that beat, when they rest and go into that beat, that gives Chuck Brown a chance to get intimate with the crowd, you know what I'm saying, and talk to them and make them feel like they're part of what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
I figured all this stuff out. So one day at rehearsal, I went to Rio. I said, "Rio, I think I know what it takes to make these people dance." But, that was another important thing. I didn't have a mic. He hired me as a bass player. He didn't know anything about it. I had singing capabilities or whatever. So I told him, I said, "Man, I'm going to need a microphone, you know, to pull this thing off." Rio said, "What the hell? We tried everything else." You know, because the band, they was like pointing the finger at each other, you know, as of who's the reason why they didn't get the crowd respond like we were supposed to and all that. So they're arguing and fighting and go home and leave me there, and I'm just trying to figure out what's going on.
Well, who was
So
doing
like when I figured it out,
who was
I
doing your lead? Who was doing your lead singing at that point?
my drummer, Rick, was the lead singer.
Oh,
The
that makes it
drummer,
hard. Yeah.
Rick Nixon, was the lead singer. He was the lead singer and the music director.
Mm.
And so what happened was Rio was like, "Okay, you know, y'all listen up. We didn't try everything else." So Tony said that he wanted to give it a shot. So I need y'all to listen to Tony. We're going to try it his way, you know. And Rick was like, "Nah, I'm the music director. I'm not listening to him." So Rio told Rick, "They, you either listen to Tony or you take your ass on." So Rick was sitting over there pouting this, looking at me hit me with the super grit. That's where that song came from, super grit. Hit him with the super grit. Hit him with the super grit. He was over there mean mugging me. You know, I ain't listening to this. But anyway, the first song that Dyke and I had arranged was actually a flute. We call ourselves playing. Trans Europe Express.
Kraftwerk. Yeah.
Yeah, and we stumbled up on another groove and called it "Roll With It." You know, so the song was like dun 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 do 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 that was our first live original song, and that song right there got the people up. So Rick used to do some really fancy stuff in the beginning of every show. Rick would open up the show and going to the beat. But I was like, okay, that's a little too complicated for us. So I'm going to figure out something that's a little bit more simplified, but still effective. So I had Rick open up the show with stat, boom, boom, stat, boom, boom, stat. So the people started looking and they started coming closer. You know, this is after we did the rehearsal with the song. And when we played that Friday, the people came in and people started coming closer, and I had gotten to know some of the names and some of the faces. They didn't know me, but I got to know them through watching Chuck Brown. So I was on the mic and calling some people names out, especially that just going out there, Steady Eddie and Cornflakes, and they had all kinds of crazy names back then. And I guess they was wondering, how in the hell do you know me? It's like, but then they started writing names down on the paper and giving them to me, right? So then they wanted me to call, because back then, if you call names, that means you were somebody. You were somebody popular. If the band, if the lead singer or whatever in the band call your name, you know what I'm saying, it just makes you a popular person. You know what I'm saying? So that's what I learned from Chuck. But the thing is, when we actually got them people there dancing, by this time, let's see, I think it was around 78. About 78. No, 77. Chuck Brown started working on Bustin Loose. Okay, it hadn't been released yet, but he was playing it, and the people was going crazy on that joint. So we already knew it was going to be a hit. Mm-hmm. You know, so Chuck came in one day, and after the show, he was like, "I don't want the boys playing with me no more. They're trying to steal my music." so by then, Chuck had got a record deal, and he was getting ready to go on tour anyway. You know, I'm skipping through a lot of stuff because, you know, I know we ain't got. It probably took about a week to tell this story in its entirety, but but I'm trying to get to the good parts. You know. So anyway, Chuck told Ted that, man, he didn't want us opening up for him anymore because we were trying to steal his music. We weren't trying to steal his music. We took the concept of the beat that he had, because there was no go-go music. You know, there was no actual go-go music until Trouble came on the scene. And if you go back and check that history, it's like Trouble Funk recorded the first official live go-go album. Straight up funk go-go style. Now, everybody else was after that. Chuck Brown did one, it was after that. EU did one, it was after that. Rare Essence did one, it was after that. Everybody that ever recorded a live go-go album was after Trouble Funk. You know what I'm saying? Trouble Funk became trendsetters because we introduced a whole bunch of other percussions, you know what I'm saying, to create and build the go-go sound. So I guess you can actually say Chuck Brown planted that seed, that go-go seed. And I always give him his props. I mean, if it wasn't for Chuck, we probably wouldn't have nothing to build on. Mm-hmm. But Trouble Funk took it to the next level. You know what I'm saying? Chuck Brown came up with the go-go beat. Trouble Funk came up with the go-go music to go with that beat. So then right now to this day, Trouble Funk has the most biggest and the biggest original catalog, go-go catalog out of all groups. You know what I'm saying? And of course, I ain't got to tell you this, but you know, we're like the most sampled go-go band, probably the most sampled band, one of the most sampled groups in go-go history or hip-hop history. Mm-hmm. You know, everybody in their mama sampled Pump Me Up. Yeah, I can name at least 50 groups that you're familiar with if I think hard enough. But you know, you got Public Enemy, Guy, Beastie Boys, KRS-One. I could go on and on and on, man. You know, It's like, yeah, everybody wanted a piece of Trouble Funk, but that was the turning point right there at the Club to Burn. And when Chuck Brown went on tour, then we basically just took over the city, you know.
So that's 78?
Yeah, 78, 79. 79 is when we released E Flat Boogie. Now, the story behind E Flat Boogie, we was playing Bustin Loose. When Chuck left, we would play Bustin Loose. And when I was trying to learn Bustin Loose, it's like I could not get the right key because it's like it sounded like it was in E, but it wasn't matching up. So I tried tuning my guitar down to E flat, and that's when I realized that Bustin Loose was laid in E flat. So that Bustin Loose actually inspired me to create E Flat Boogie. That's why I call it E Flat Boogie, because Bustin Loose was in E flat.
Mm.
So I came up with E Flat Boogie because that low E flat was funkier than the E. And at the time, we all had 4 strings. So it's like to get lower, you had to tune the E string down. So E Flat Boogie was our first hit record, our first official hit record, you know what I'm saying? And I wouldn't even, just like Bustin Loose, I wouldn't even call it, I wouldn't call E Flat Boogie or Bustin Loose go-go. It had go-go ingredients, but it was
More
more like
funk.
commercial.
More funk.
Yeah.
Yeah. More regular
It was
funk.
more like funk with go-go ingredients, or commercial go-go, if you will. You know what I'm saying? Like Jill Scott, the thing that she did, that's commercial go-go. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Now, a lot of people don't even know the difference between commercial go-go and just raw go-go. The only way you can experience real go-go is got to be live. And real go-go, for some places throughout the world, it's great live, but it's hard to digest. It's hard to digest on a regular formatted radio station. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
But real go-go is one of the greatest experiences you can ever with the right band experience. You know what I'm saying?
What were the size of those crowds like in the 78 era when you were doing that?
I'll say it again.
What were the sizes of the crowds like you were playing to in that 78
Oh man,
era?
Man, we had crowds like anywhere from 1,000 people, man, to 22,000. Like the Capitol Center hold like 22,000 people. Well, technically they hold 18,000, but yeah, they packed them in. They got 22,000 up in there, So we were the first group. I believe we were the first group. Don't quote me on that. I gotta go back even we were the first or the second group to perform at the Capitol Center. I think Chuck came in after. I don't quite remember, but I think Chuck came. But I do know we was the first group to headline the Capitol Center. We was the first go-go group to headline the Capitol Center.
And that was 79 or later?
That was back 79, 80, yeah.
Did you feel comfortable being an MC?
I felt comfortable being an entertainer because I did it all. You know what I'm saying? I'm not a singer. I'm not a rapper. I'm not none of that. I'm an entertainer. I can do it all. I'm a musician. I'm a musician first. And the thing is that I'm gonna eat. In the words of Chuck Brown, I'm gonna eat. I'm gonna do whatever I got to do to eat. And if it means I got to talk to you to eat, then I'm gonna talk to you. You know what I'm saying? So, but my musical talents is far more beyond being MC, or as they would say in the go-go community, number one man, number one mic man. You know, that's go-go talk right there.
It sounds
So,
like
you know,
almost like reggae talk to me.
yeah. So, you know, and you know, I guess with new styles of music, you come up with your, you know, with your own interpretations of who and what you do. You know what I'm saying? Like, the way I came up is either you're a bass player or you're not a bass player. Either you're a Congo player or you're not a Congo player. Either you're a drummer or you're not a drummer. You know, either you're a singer or a rapper or you're not. It's like with go-go, you gotta, you know, hey man, I'm the number one mic man. I'm the number two. I'm the number five. I'm a go-go Congo player. No, you Congo player. You know what I'm saying? You know, Trouble Funk is a funk group that just happened to play go-go.
When did the name change?
Yeah, I'm glad you asked me that. That's another interesting story. So when we started building up a really good crowd, and E Flat Boogie came out, Max Kidd took over the song, and yeah, he did some wonderful things with it. And I think we went to Chuck Levin's man, and he took something like $50,000, man, to Chuck Levin, and just told us to get all the instruments that we need to, you know, to do a better job, you know, and get the best. So man, we got a B3, we got a Hammond B3. I was the first kid on the block with an Olympic bass guitar. You know what I'm saying? It's like that joint right there was like the Rolls Royce of guitars, you know. And I always wanted one because I always seen Stanley Clarke with one, and I got the one just like Stanley had, you know. And that bass is magical, man. It just made me so much better, you know. I developed this style called percussion bass, you know, and percussion drag bass. So it's like I would play percussion on my bass with the drummer. When the drummer playing the pocket, and I have my bass, just plucking, not hitting notes, but just making percussive sounds. And every now and then I go, that was called drag bass. So all these the new generation, they doing this stuff and not even realizing that, you know, this ain't new. I've been doing this in the 70s. You know what I'm saying? So I developed my own unique style, and as a result of that, I mean, Trouble Funk, we just developed a whole new style of go-go music, which is, again, it's just, go-go is just another brand of funk. You know what I'm saying? All these styles originated from funk soul, you know what I'm saying? Our brand of go-go is just totally different from everybody else's. Now, you had 4 groups back then. 4 groups, and then later on Jump came, but you had like what we call the Big 4. You had Trouble, Chuck, EU, and Rare Essence. And back then, we all had our own unique, distinct sound. You know, we all had our own unique, distinct sound, and you can tell the difference easy. You ain't got to hear the lead man at all. You know, you can hear the music, you know what I'm saying, and just know what band is what. Now it's like with the music, that the style of go-go music we have now, because everybody's playing the same thing, it's hard to tell who's who, you know, until you hear somebody's voice. And some of the bands, some of the lead guys, you know, they even sound similar. You know what I'm saying? So that changed a lot, but again, I just think just like all the old school music back in the day, I think those were like the golden days, man. You know what I'm saying?
Definitely, yeah.
Yeah. I definitely think those were the golden days. Now everything is just like it's like instant coffee. You know, everything is just so instant. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
Yep.
And it dies down just like that. It comes instantly and it dies instantly. You know, I'm grateful that Trouble Funk was a part of that '80s era because that was you still had classic music back then.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? There was still a such thing as a classic. After the '80s and maybe the early '90s, I don't think there ever be any more classic songs. You know what I'm saying? Songs that would stand the test of time. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? Like your Parliaments, your James Browns, and your Sly Stones, and you know, people of that genre. You
Yeah. Well,
know?
Prince helped keep it alive to me, but
Yeah. Well, definitely Prince. Yeah, yes, yeah. Prince definitely helped keep it alive. But again, man, um, I wonder. It's like where is this thing going to go when you know all of us guys are no longer able to do it or even around. It's
yeah.
like it makes me wonder. It's like, and we're working on a new album now, and it's I've been working on this album for about 3 years now because I definitely want to make a statement. You know what I'm saying? It ain't over until it's over. Um, I want this album to be very special. Um, so, unfortunately, I was in the studio when this accident happened, so that kind of slowed me down a little bit. But I got a new album coming out. It's called Trouble Funk: The Rebirth, and I got some real serious guests on there. I can't really name them because they haven't been signed, till delivered, and I don't think they really want to put that out there right now. But I got some really, really great guests. Yeah. Well, I can't name one. We're doing a collaboration with Dave Grohl. Yeah. I can't name the others right now because you know that's that. I mean, Dave Gordon already said that that was going to happen. We're going to make it happen. It's just a matter of he's on the world tour right now. Yeah, he's on the
Yeah.
world
Well,
tour
I
right
heard
now.
he
So
was a fan. So
yeah, yeah,
yeah.
yeah. Dave used to open up. He was with I forgot the name of the band, but back then when he was about 16 years old, he used to open up for us.
Hmm. Before
You
Nirvana,
know,
huh?
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Long before then. Yeah, he used to open up for us. I forgot the name of the band. Was it Scream? It was one of those little punk rock bands,
Hmm.
and he came back, man. He's like he always said that. He always told me, he said, man, you guys influenced me to play music as well as I play, and you know. And he came back and showed his love, man. That's real love, man. It's like we're supposed to be doing something with him on July 4th, and I know he's coming to DC July 4th. Only thing he did me, he texted me and said, keep July 4th open. So I said, you gotta say no more. Done deal. Don't book July 4th. So I said, cool, not a problem.
Well, we definitely
So
look forward to that. I can't wait. Um,
yeah, yeah, me too.
but
So,
I still got
but
some
yeah,
questions for you, though.
sure, man. I hope I got some answers.
Yeah. Well, who is there any one person that you know of that coined go-go as the genre?
Is there any one person?
Yeah. How did the name go-go get put on that music?
Well, okay. Actually, Go started out as a place to go. It wasn't. It had nothing to do with music. Go was an atmosphere, and that actual name originated from Smokey Robinson
Going to a
going
go-go.
to a go-go.
Yeah.
We just took that name and gave it a different interpretation. You know what I'm saying? Um, Going to the go-go was like, okay, man, what you gonna do tonight? Oh, I'm going to the go-go to see Chuck Brown and Soul Searchers. So that was just another name for whatever club he was going to. That atmosphere was a go-go atmosphere. So basically, that's where the name originated from. That song Smokey Robinson did, "Going to a Go-Go." Now I think his go-go back then was what they call now strip clubs. You know, yeah. I think back then they called go-go the go-go dancers. You know what I'm saying? Female go-go dancers.
I remember they had go-go
Yeah.
boots. That was a big fad.
Yeah. And like I said, he had go-go dancers at the club, you know, that wore the go-go boots.
Yeah.
Pretty much, not a lot else, but the go-go boots, you know. But like I said, somehow, some way, and I can't honestly say I know who claimed it. You know what I'm saying? I do know Chuck Brown created the go-go beat.
Mm-hmm.
And the story behind that was Chuck Brown took that go-go beat, which actually came from the church. It was a lot faster. But he actually took that, Grover Washington took that beat from the church, slowed it down, and did the Mr. Magic. Chuck Brown took Mr. Magic, stripped the music off it, and put some congos on it, and called it a go-go beat. You know what I'm saying? Trouble Funk came along. We put more percussion to it. We modified it, changed it, and created a variety of different go-go beats.
Yeah.
And we let the other bands know, because all the other bands was like, I don't know. I don't know if they was like scared to step in that arena or whatever. But Trouble Funk, we showed them how easy it was to do that. And it wasn't that it was easy. We worked hard to make it look easy.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? We worked very hard to make it look easy. But that's how we became the innovators of a lot of stuff when it comes to go-go music. You know what I'm saying?
Let me ask you how your first album, Drop the Bomb, was on Sugar Hill Records, which was the big hip hop rap, old school rap label. How did you get that record deal, and what do you remember about making that record?
Well, we'll start from the beginning. How that record came about was crazy. It was crazy, man. I was actually late for a show when that song actually was created. I was running late for a show, and we was playing at some rec center in Maryland, and I was running like maybe 45 minutes behind, so the band had to start up without me, and the band was like just grooving, and Dyke was on the synthesizer making all these little crazy sounds, and as I was walking through the crowd, I heard Dyke doing this little sound, and the crowd was going, "Drop the bomb, drop the bomb!" Here, and they're gonna drop the bomb. So I'm hooking up my guitar. Wow, that's nice right there. I'm hooking up my guitar and I'm trying to get ready. So immediately I walked up to the mic and I was like, "You want to drop the bomb? You want to drop the bomb?" Yeah. So then I go, "Drop the bomb, drop the bomb." And I could add another little part. Choo, 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 choo. And everybody in the audience doing like this. You know what I'm saying? I was like, wow. And pretty much the audience helped, create that song. And we realized that we had something, so we took it back to rehearsal. And it was like, man, we got to put a groove to this job. And that's when Dyke came up with that. Actually, James came up with that groove, that little part right there. You know, and it was like a real percussive type of feel on the bass. You know, and Rick had that funky beat on that. Stack, 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 stack. That one of those funky backbone P-funk beats, you know. That's what I call it. Yeah, we got a real funky thing going down, getting down. To the roof off the top of the roof. You had that type of feel, you know what I'm saying? So we just, like I said, we was influenced by all that type of music. And what we did, we just took and put our own originality, our own original spin on a lot of stuff. You know, because they say music is just a vicious cycle anyway, you know. So we just, a lot of stuff that came out, like if we saw a hit record and it's like, okay, well, we got to figure out a way to do this because this is hot. We got to figure out a way to do this our way. Like when Planet Rock was out, that that real upbeat thing, you know, Planet Rock and that, you know, the African Bambaataa and all that little fast, you know, tempo, what we call it,
electro
futuristic
funk.
type of music. Right. So that was real hot for a minute. So we had to figure out a way to capitalize on that. So that's when we came up with the group called Arcade Funk. Tilt. You know what I'm saying? So it was just me, Dyke, James, and the percussion. We went up in that joint, and Dyke and I, we went to arcade. Back then, the arcade games was real popular. So we would go record sounds from the arcade, and then come back and try to reproduce them on the synthesizers.
Yeah, like
and that's
Pac-Man.
how,
Yeah.
right. That's how Arcade Funk came about. Yeah, and that was a big song. Yeah, but the experience with Sugar Hill, we didn't get no money out of that. But we you know we got a lot of notoriety. You know, the people they they played a big part of Trouble Phone getting out there and the people getting to know who we are and what we do.
What was it like for you recording in a studio after all that live experience?
Well, again, it was very natural. It was very natural. We had always we did some recording in studios, but it was like little rinky-dink studios. And when we actually got a chance to record in a really good studio, and after being in those little small rinky-dink studios, it just made everything that much easier. You know what I'm saying? Now you're recording with people that really know what they're doing. Like our first major recording experience was Sigma Sound in Philly. That's where we recorded. That's where we recorded like E Flat Boogie and a slow song called "Don't Try to Use Me," and we did the vocals to "Pump Me Up." There, we did. There was another studio we recorded out of in Virginia called Bias. As a matter of fact, I'm back there at Bias now, recording a lot of the new album, and because a lot of studios now they don't have tape anymore, and I like tape. I like recording on tape now for editing purposes and out gear and all that stuff there. You know, virtual plug-ins. Yes, it's okay to bounce down to digital, but you got to get that initial sound on that tape because it's something about that sound on tape, man, that, you know what I'm saying, it's just fat, it's warm, and it's raw. You know, that analog, you can't beat it.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. So, but yeah, we went into a real big legal battle with Sugar Hill, and And believe it or not, we're still trying to get the rights back to a lot of our music, you know, between Sugar Hill and Tough City, and Max Kidd, may rest in peace. But, you know, it's like, we were kids back then, man. You know, it's like, we didn't know, and Rio was the manager, and we pretty much relied on him to protect us. And we got the bad, you know, we got the bad end of the deal, you know, back then, man. So again, we still trying to. There's monies out there that still belong to us that we're not recouping now that we can't. So I'm hoping, you know, this interview reaches one of those really great lawyers that wanted to check us on pro bono. There's a lot of money in it. We can get this catalog back. Just saying, yeah, you know. But
I hope so.
Yeah, man, we got a really big catalog, and you know, this catalog will never die. It's gonna always make money because we was fortunate to be in that category of what they call evergreens. You know what I'm saying?
Do you
Right
think?
now,
Do you think
I'm sorry.
Do you think Drop the Bomb influenced the Gap bands? You dropped the bomb on me.
Oh, hell yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, hell yeah. Here's the deal. Okay, Max Kidd tried to get us. Follow me now. Max Kidd tried to get us to do another version, an R&B version of Drop the Bomb. And it's like, yeah, we argued. It's like, man, look, that's not trouble. That's not our style, you know. And he's like, but the record is real big, and it'd be bigger if you can do a crossover version, you know, blah blah blah. And he had a point there, but it just wasn't our image. So he pitched it. He was promoting for, I think it was Interscope Records. I think that's the label Gap Band was on at the time.
Total Experience.
Total Experience. Okay. Well, anyway, he was promoting for that label, and he pitched it to that label. Yeah, he pitched it to that label.
All right, that's pretty clear.
And yeah, it's obvious if you listen to it. It's obvious. You got the little generic bomb in the background. You got the bomb on me. Psst, little cute bomb in the back, you know.
Yeah.
But it worked for what they did, and yeah, if we would have did it, it probably would have worked for us. But again, it just wasn't our style, you know. It just wasn't our style.
Get On Up was a hot groove also.
Yeah, Get On Up. And I tell you another concept they took. We had a song called So Early in the Morning.
Oh, really?
So early, so early, so early in the morning.
Yeah, another Gap band.
Gap band got that one. So I gotta get up early in the morning. Yeah.
I think Robert Palmer redid it. Yeah.
Yeah. And Robert Palmer, believe it or not, is a Big Trouble fan. Yeah. As a matter of fact, we did. He's a really cool cat, by the way, man. Really nice cat, man. I met him personally, and we did Island Records 25th anniversary when we was over in the UK. So you had Robert Palmer, you had all the heavyweights there. You know what I'm saying? We did a song with Sly and Robbie, and it was so long ago. I can't remember everybody that was there, but it was like all of the major artists that was on Island Records. You know, that was a great experience.
Yeah, sounds great.